councillors, Methven Community Board, staff, the media, and all those who are listening at home to this council meeting held on Wednesday, the 18th of June. Extraordinary business, I know of none. Any extraordinary business? Declarations of interest, and I'll be declaring interest in item number 18 of today's agenda and advise you that I'll leave the meeting for this item and the Deputy Mayor will take the chair. Moving on to the confirmation of the minutes. Council meeting of the 4th of June. For accuracy, any alterations or additions to page 3, 4, 5, 6. If there is none, can we move in a second that they were true and accurate record? Councillor Hooper, Councillor McMillan. All in favour, please say aye. Carried, thank you. Council minutes, receipt of the minutes, and we've got the Methven Community Board's minutes there which we will receive. Move in a second for that. Councillor Cameron, Councillor Lovett. All those in favour we receive these minutes, say aye. Against, carried, thank you. Any matters arising out of those minutes? Page 7 or 8. So move on, next item. Number 6, and there's the Road Safety Committee meeting held on the 3rd of June, and we'll receive those minutes as well. So move in a second if we receive them. Councillor McMillan, Councillor Todd. All in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Any items in there you want to discuss? Councillor Cameron.
Just item under ACADS, alcohol, currently investigating, collaborating with organisations with a view to reduce drink driving in our region. How would that work? And do we have a high drink driving ratio per head of population in our region?
I'll go to the chair of the Road Safety Committee, Councillor McMillan. So if
Thank
you could go off, please.
Oh, beg you.
Councillor.
Thank you. Through the chair. So ACADS, they didn't have a representative at the meeting, but they provided graphs of people that were being charged with drink driving and the interlock system that was going out to some drink drivers, and that just seems to be increasing year by year. So hopefully we will get Stephanie, who is our coordinator for ACADS, to come along to the next meeting to speak on why she thinks that has increased. So yeah, there was a lot of discussion around it.
So the graph was going up, what, one person and now there's 2 people, or one person and now there's 10 people? Like, how much going up? The percentage increase from a low base can be significant, but the numbers may not be, or other way around. You don't know? Oh. Lynette, you got to go off, sorry.
Right, on to Scott.
Thank you. Through the chair, I'll send through I can send through the agenda so you can have a look at the graph. I can't remember the details, but it did seem to be significant, and there was a lot of discussion around why, and judges using the interlock system more and more seem to be the reason why or those numbers had increased. But I'll send through the agenda, or you can look at it on Stella to see those graphs.
So my real question is, what would council do, and what role does council have in stopping drink driving? I would have thought that would have been a police matter, or a third, someone involved in that business. I wouldn't have thought we'd be getting involved in that as a council.
It's under road safety, and we have a road safety person, so it fits in under our road safety. We run the road safety meeting, and Councillor McMillan chairs that, so we do have a role in everything with regards road safety, and drink driving is one of those. But you're right, the police it. Yeah. And just for those who don't see the email between the 2 councillors and don't have Stella, it's on the website, the council website, the agenda for that meeting.
Thanks.
For those who don't have access to the other to meteories. Councillor Love.
Just the Ashburton Principals Association, that's 5.3, looking at putting a possibility of islands on the pedestrian crossing outside Netherby School, and just want to make sure they are aware that that is the main entrance to the showgrounds, and a lot of horse trucks and big vehicles you go past that school, so when they're designing that it better be truck friendly.
The Netherby School won't be designing it or putting it in. It'll be our roading people who will do it. And if they do put one in, they've requested they do. If they do, they'll design it to appropriate standards for the road and the conditions, I would assume.
Yeah, just that point that a lot of big heavy vehicles and tractors do go in that entrance.
Yeah, and Mr. McCann's here who will make note of that, and when if they decide to do it, they'll take that into account when they're designing.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor Mackle.
Thank you. I just see some processing plants are no longer allowing stock trucks to empty the effluent tanks when delivering stock. What's the reason behind that?
Thank you, through the chair. It was to do with consents, I think. So it was something that Jim Crouchley brought up, and I think it's a bigger issue than council. I think it needs to go to central government, but I think it was around consents.
Nothing further. Moving on to the next item is the Methven Community Strategic Plan, and we have representation from the Methven Community Board here this afternoon, Kelvin, Robin and Alan. If you'd like to please come forward to the table and you can speak to the plan if you wish. Oh, and Megan, sorry, I didn't see you there. Megan. Kelvin, welcome.
Thank you, Mr Mayor and councillors, for the opportunity to perhaps not so much present, but to discuss if you have questions as well regarding our new plan effective 2025. What you've got in front of you is hot off the press, so that's what it looks like, and that's what will be available to the public. I trust though you've read the previous bit in your minutes. Apparently it's in there, so let's hope you guys are a bit familiar with it. Just firstly, I'd like to thank the staff and Tabia and Lou and Mark and all the team, Tony, for the efforts and the support that they provided us with this plan development. Superb effort, can't say enough really, really good. So thank you, staff. Before I just run through it, I'd just like to note that many of the aspirations that you'll read in there that have got a 1 to 3 time frame or medium or long term, whatever, we'll talk to some of that, but a lot of them, please realise that a lot of it is not rate sensitive. It's about council making the path as easy as possible, really. Some of it obviously is rate sensitive, but a lot of it is driven from the community up. So, yeah, just bear that in mind when you read it, and future councils hopefully won't, and community boards won't stand on and kill it just because it costs them money. Anyway, so we developed the plan firstly in 1997, as some of you may know. It was redeveloped in 2014. 2009, sorry, the second one was done, and a midterm review, if you like, in 2014, and it was noted that some of the aspirations were already completed in 2014. So it does work. It's been a good community involvement document over the years. So let's hope the next 10 it gives us the goals that the community was looking for. You won't know, but under the current plan, it now has 4 goals. Previously it had 5. Felt it was a bit onerous, so we condensed some of the goals together to give us a bit more of a concise document. And the goals, if you've read it, easier to read it than this because it's in living colour. There's 28 odd objectives, and that's what the board over the 10 years in conjunction with council will be aiming at, I guess. Some of them are ongoing, but at the end of the day, that's what we're looking for. As you'll know also, the plan was developed with a lot of written submissions, with 2 public workshops, a stand at the AMP show, which was really good, really interactive for people just walking past. Brilliant way of doing it, to be fair. And we had 2 speakers talking to their submissions at our workshop from RDR Management and from the Methven Care Trust. So we've taken those on board, and you'll notice they are in some of the 1 to 3 years or straight away. We've got 16 short-term and ongoing objectives out of that 28 that we hope to accomplish in the first 3 years. And to that end, I'm happy to talk to them if you want, but there's 28 of them, so I don't intend to waste your time doing that. But hopefully you guys do take it for what it is and the amount of effort that was put into developing it. So I think there's 1 or 2 things to be highlighted, Mr. Mayor, is that some of the, out of the public submissions and the public meetings, there's a lot of people aren't that happy or have a comment about the state of many of the buildings within the CBD, that they look dilapidated, old, tired, and all of that. Now, I know this is a public meeting and there's reasons, so I won't say what I could say, but there needs to be landowner focus, to be fair, and how the community board does that, I'm not sure, but there was a lot of comment about the state of the way Methven looks. There's a few things being done to address that in terms of the lighting group and a few other things, but by and large, it needs a bit of a good flick of paint. The other thing that was quite predominant in the submissions was about pedestrian access and movement around town, and that's one of our major bullet points or aspirations that we can begin with, and we will start doing that, not forgetting or reminding you that Methven Central is going to become a very central place on a couple of roads that aren't very favourable or aren't very friendly to either school kids who use it now or to disability scooters, etc. So we will be coming to council on behalf of 2 or 3 groups, begging your interest and support. That's a word, support. And that might have a cost to ratepayers, but at the end of the day, the centre of Methven is going to change, as I'm sure you're all aware, quite markedly before Christmas. So it's going to be a bit more dangerous the way it is. So I don't really want to say any more than that, but we're happy to answer questions if you have them. So thanks.
Just so there's no guessing, Kelvin, Methven's going to change dramatically before Christmas, as we know. Can you just explain to us what we know?
Well, in terms of where Methven Central is going to be up and operating,
Yeah.
and the Methven Chertsey Road will be their access to the businesses. The pub's not a problem because that's just right across the shut-off road, so the pub's fine. But at the end of the day, if they want to be going into the business area, they're going to have to cross Chertsey Road, Methven Chertsey Road, and also State Highway. So, did I answer it?
So,
Not sure.
So just to elaborate, Methven Central is going to be the new Methven House. So it's where the retirement place.
Right, I know that. Yeah, got it now. Yeah, you just leave your microphone on if you like, Kelvin. Questions, councillors, clarification on the plan? Councillor Cameron.
I think it looks really good, and I think, as you said, a lot of it's achievable, and some of them are quite low cost and easy to do, objectives. One thing I was quite interested in was and this is the statistics, I know, but the average age of the Methven person was set 39 years old or something, which is actually a wee bit younger than the rest of the district. So that's interesting to see. And whether that reflects the nature of your tourism industry up there, I mean, I don't know, but I thought that was quite interesting. And I think in here was there some comment on, I just lost the page now, on the number of accommodation units and where you get most of the income. The biggest industry up there is tourism. Is that right? Was it? I
Yeah,
just can't see that. Yeah.
Page 17.
17.
Thanks, Megan. Yeah. Yeah, I thought
These-
that was quite interesting as well.
These are all, councillor, stats
Yeah.
figures, not gained by us, if you like, within
Yeah,
the
which is-
community.
Yeah. And so your population, was that from stats or was that from council?
Stats.
So that has gone up quite markedly in the last 5 years, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
Yeah.
It has.
Which
You'll
is really
note, though,
good.
if you read the ethnicity figures, they don't add up to 100.
Oh, I
For some
didn't do
reason
that,
they
do
don't.
that, Calvin. No. Yeah, I think this is really good, and I think sometimes you've got like objectives like healthcare, and that's in common with the rest of the district, and probably indeed the rest of New Zealand, possibly. That's yeah. But I congratulate
you.
everybody involved. I think it's a wonderful looking document and very easy to follow, and I think the objectives are marvellous.
Thank you.
Councillor Hooper?
Thank you. Page 31, the great photo of the stands at the show. What do you think was so successful about that, Calvin? What made all that work so well?
I think two probably, the initial, two things. The initial council or the initial community board council, call it what you like, promotion of the strategic plan review was done really, really well. It was in people's faces probably not more than necessary, but certainly you couldn't miss it,
Yeah.
which was good.
Yeah.
And then the positioning of the, if you were there, the positioning of that stand was almost the way the majority of people walked into the show anyway. So it was well situated, and I think it's the promotion in the first place.
Just
Excellent promotion.
comment to add to it. It was a really easy process for members of the community to interact with as well. They literally just had to stick up some dots, and it was conversations with us that enabled it to happen quite easily. It definitely couldn't be the only approach to collecting responses from the community, though.
No.
Thank you. And I see you're looking at the idea of maybe adding disc golf to some of the attractions in the township. So I had a bit to do with the 9 holes put into Timwell, so I have a number of contacts, so happy to help in any way I can.
Yeah, no, thank you for
Thank
that. Councillor, that was quite the younger people were looking for more activities, sporting activities, if you like, to be available in the Methven area. One of them was disc golf, and the other one was
Kayaking.
where or how the RDR could accommodate kayaking or other of those sort of similar water sports, and that was the nature of the conversation and the submission of the RDR, and their presentation to our hearing was, they're all for it, but it's got a lot of buts. And so that's one of the things we've said we'll go back to them pretty soon to start that sort of conversation. But yeah, just golf. Just a question, councillor. Do you need 9 holes in one place, or they can be all over the place?
No, you don't. You could put 3 in one location, another 3 in another location. Yeah, probably preferable 9 holes, or there's even 18 at the Ashburton one.
Yeah.
But yep, I have a number of contacts with the Christchurch club, including the designer of Ashburton and Timwell, so they would certainly let you know. They just would have a wander around for a couple of hours and say, oh, we could get 4 or 5 or 6 here, or yep. So, but they're more than willing to help at no cost.
Thank you.
Just while we're on the sport, goal 1, live, work and play, attractive place. Just on RDR, you mentioned it, Kelvin. RDR did submit to to your plan. I don't think they were in favour of developing kayaking on the RDR race, mainly because of the size and the health and safety issues. So has something changed after the
No,
submission?
they weren't totally negative as opposed to saying no, but the liabilities, the risk that they've got, and in and out access of the canal if it's low, so the sides are pretty steep. So it's just a conversation. It may come to nothing, but at the end of the day, there was a lot of people who were bringing it up, and their answer wasn't a definitive no. So,
Okay, thank you. Councillor Todd.
Thank you. Yes, congratulations on on this. It's very, very good. So it gives you a blueprint to know where you're going in the future. But just on the CBD area, you alluded and didn't want to talk too much about it. It needs more than a lick of paint. Are the building code, are the buildings up to standard in Methven? Because that sort of drives change, as if buildings have to be strengthened or whatever, so it's...
supposedly, councillor, they are up to the code, because doesn't council enforce it, that for their occupation, I guess. Without saying too much, I'm sure most of you know who owns a fair chunk of Methven, and that was brought out with a lot of submissions. So
There are some easy wins, like increasing wheelchair access into certain buildings, and that falls on the owners of the building too. So we need to, increasing accessibility is something that came out of this and can be part of that conversation too.
Any further questions for the Methven Community Board on their plan? No, I think we've got the end. Thanks very much for coming along and presenting that. It's well done on the development of the plan. It looks a really good plan, and it was community driven, which is great. Good outcomes in there, and now there's some work to do to achieve them, either short term or long term. So, councillors, I've got a recommendation there that council receives this report and council endorse the Methven Community Strategic Plan 2025. Someone like to move? Councillor Cameron?
Yes, thank you.
Councillor Hooper, would you like to speak to the motion? You don't. Any, Councillor McMillan, discussion, debate?
Thank you. I'll speak to the motion. I support this and like to congratulate the community board on all the work they've done, as well as the staff facilitating the workshops, which I thought were well attended, and of course the AMP show, where there was a lot of people coming through and actually wanting to have discussions with us when we were on the desk there, on the booth. I was involved in the 2009 strategic plan, and then the update in 2014. The 2009 strategic plan was mainly led by staff, and the community board had very little to do with it, so it's really good to see how much this has involved the whole community, but the community board led it, so really happy to support this recommendation.
Further speakers for or against? If not, I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you very much.
thank you, Mr. Mayor. And just as a side point, sadly, I was here in 2009 as well. A long time ago.
You've weathered well.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you all for attending today as well. That's great to see you. Councillors, next item is number 8, review of the use of pole-mounted banners policy. We have Richard Janice. Is it Janice? Yep. Welcome. Anything further to add to report, Richard?
No, I have nothing further to add, but happy to answer questions.
Okay, let's go to questions. I'm sure there's a question or two. Councillor McMillan.
Thank you, through the chair. I'm on page, sorry, I'll just double check, 52, and number 4, you've said that a full set of street flags costs around about $6,500, and we've already got quite a few in stock. How long are they, do you think that they will last? Is it sort of a couple of years, more than that, 5 to 10 years? Are we getting sort of value for those banners?
Thank you, through the chair. Depends on what kind of nor'west wind they face, but they last roughly about 3 to 5 years.
It was 3 to 5 years, was it? Yep. Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. And on the same number 4, these are funded from the festive lighting cost centre when budget allows. So how are we going, like the ones we have now, are any of those due for replacement, and how are we budget-wise for replacing them?
Thank you, through the chair. At the moment, our stocks are looking really good across all the flags, and it's sort of a swings and roundabouts with whatever needs doing with the festive lighting and the Christmas tree and so forth.
Councillor Cameron.
With these are banner flags. What about across the road flags? You know, when we have when Rotary does their Bookarama, that goes across the road. But we used to, many years ago, when when I was young, a lot younger, we used to have Christmas banners and that across the road. What's the deal with that now, please?
My understanding is that in 2019, when the CBD upgrade was done, the mounting of banners across East Street and above the East Street water feature was done away with. So
that was my understanding. But is it still possible to do it? I thought that the hooks weren't strong enough. Is that the case, or can we still, like, that was done away with? But why was it done away with? That's sort of my question.
it wasn't part of the focus of the policy to discuss why something happened 5 years ago. But we were looking at the application of the policy today, and with those mountings having been removed at that time, there has been no ability to mount across the street, and evidently no demand to do so either.
I don't know that that's the latter.
We're not here to debate that.
No.
What we are here to do is this policy, if we have a policy or not, but they were removed when the CBD was upgraded.
Yeah, the hooks, the capability
Correct.
was removed.
Yeah, and if you want to reinstate them, then it's another process.
Yeah, sure. One more question, please. It comes out of the lighting budget, is that correct, for the banners?
Festive lighting budget.
The festive lighting budget. So how does that differ from the tree lighting budget?
Same
budget. Yeah. As opposed to your street lighting budget or something.
Different budget.
Yeah,
Street
okay.
light, yeah. Thank you, Councillor Lovett.
I'm just going to go back because we're moving this policy, but I'm just thinking we've got all our own council street flags and that. Is there a possibility of putting some poles on East Street just for local events to be advertised? Because I know the AMP used to have the big banners, but the Norwest blew them.
Is this relating to the policy, what we're doing here today?
Yeah, because we're getting rid of the policy, and I'm thinking
We may not.
we may not, yeah. But I would still like to see just something for public, yeah.
It's not quite related to policy, whether we have a policy or not. What is out there? It's another conversation. Councillor Wilson.
There's been no demand, obviously, no demand, and that's why you believe that we don't need a policy because there's no demand. But the law of unintended consequences means that someone will want to put something up, and who's going to make the decision if it's appropriate or not, or how does that decision made? If we said, an example, this election, someone decided to put their face down right through the town on those poles, good idea, I thought. Who would make that decision as to if that's acceptable or not?
In the event that you chose to retain the policy, then if it was considered political advertising, then it would be in breach of the policy. If you revoke the policy, then the staff would need to make a decision. They might choose to refer that to council, or they might note that there was recently a policy that said that political advertising was not a good idea and make an administrative decision on that basis.
Yeah, just on that, said there was very little use since 2019, since they've been up by the members of the public. How would they have known they could use these things?
Thank you, through the chair. Even within my time as in previous roles working with community groups, this is something that I had promoted to them to use. And yeah, it was just never an option, and cost was the main factor stopping community groups doing so.
Yeah. And bullet point 9 says officers consider the policy is no longer needed. Why do we no longer need the policy?
The rationale is that council is the only party currently using that infrastructure to put up its own flags. It involves some conversations between 2 and occasionally a third of the teams in the organisation, and we didn't see that it was adding any particular value having a policy given the nature of the current usage. It may be, as I've observed in the policy, the council has a different view, and that's why we've got another option in there for you to consider.
Yeah, and thanks for that. There's another option, which is retain the policy with a slight update. And if there's not much usage now, then doesn't mean it won't be in the future. Councillor Hooper.
Thank you. I was just going to ask, are the Matariki flags up at the moment?
Through the chair, yes, those are the flags at the moment.
Councillor Cameron.
What is the cost of what's the downside of retaining the policy? I mean, was there a dollar cost to that?
The downside to retaining the policy at the moment is that in 5 years' time, somebody like me will have to do a report and come along to a meeting like this. It's not a high cost, but I think as part of giving you good policy advice, we should always ask ourselves, is this policy serving a useful purpose or not? And that's why we're having this discussion.
May I ask another question, please? So if I wanted to advertise rotary potato sales or Can for a Cause, we've got Can for a Cause out there now, and I developed some banners, and there was no policy, how do I go about getting my banners on the post?
You'd contact the council, and the right people would talk with you about how we make it happen.
So the policy adds little or takes away little?
Mr. Mayor, I think the context is no one's used it for 5 years. So the situations that you're describing simply aren't happening. They haven't happened. And so we have a policy, an administrative thing in the building that no one's using. And so the recommendation is that we lose nothing by abandoning it. Should an application come in, we would then need to consider it on its merits and have a sort of a one-off process. But the maintenance of a policy that no one is using, it feels a reasonable recommendation to consider that it be abolished. But if council wishes to have it there on the books just in case, then that's certainly an option too.
Yeah, that's great. Councillor Hooper.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I was happy to remove if there was no more questions.
What were you going to move? Because I'm thinking of option 1, which is to retain policy, ready to be used at a further date if things change.
I was happy to remove that council revokes the policy on the use of pole-mounted banners.
We have a mover. If there's no more questions, there's a mover. Councillor Hooper and Councillor Brown seconded. Speakers for, you'll speak to the motion?
Yep.
Thanks.
As Richard just explained, that if somebody wants to advertise in the future, they talk to the right people at council and the job's done. I don't think there's any use for it. There's not the need in the community for it.
Councillor Cameron.
I speak against the motion. I think a policy provides transparency and an access route for the community to understand how the banners can be used and when they can be used and what's required to use them. I think without those, their policy, there's some ambiguity and lack of clarity around that. They have not been used in 5 years. I sort of didn't really realise that they could be used for community activities, so I'm one person that didn't realise that. And I'm sure there's other people that don't realise that as well. So I speak against the motion, would like to retain the policy with changing the dates and minimal staff input.
Councillor Todd?
Thank you. I speak in favour of the recommendation. Apart from giving colour and movement, I do wonder the need of the banners. When you're driving along, they are difficult to actually read what they're promoting at times. I believe also that events are promoted on social media these days, on Facebook, etc. So there's other avenues that people can get the message across. So I speak in favour of the recommendation.
Councillor Wilson?
I speak against the motion. I concur with Councillor Cameron that the having a policy in place is a good way of stopping ambiguity, and it allows, that's why we perhaps haven't had any trouble with it, because people have read the policy and say, no, I can't do it. Without a policy, you're leaving it up to someone to make a decision, or then they have to make a decision, write a report and come back to council to make the decision, whereas at the moment the decision is quite easy. You read it and you yes or no, that's it. There's no choice as it was. It's all there, black and white.
Councillor Lovett?
I agree with Councillor Cameron, and I also think the reason people don't know about this is because we're always seeing these lovely flags being changed all the time in town, and we probably are all thinking, it's council owned, and that's where I was aiming for. Perhaps we probably need a few poles or something just on East Street where community groups at a lower level can put their banners on. So I think we just need this policy just kept there for the future and just advertise or perhaps develop it more.
If this motion is lost, then the policy will be reviewed and come back to council for approval. If this motion is lost, if this motion is won, then the policy will be removed. So we've got speakers for and against, and we've had either side. I'm going to speak against the motion. No one's using it, but do they know they can use it? And I don't know the answer to that. The other thing is, if we have a policy that gives good direction, even if not used, if it is used, then it can come out, give direction. If a staff member makes a decision on the use, if there's no policy, what guidance do they have? Just their own guidance, I presume, which may be right, may not be. And the staff change regularly, so you could get a different view from a different staff member years later, possibly. So, and if there's no policy, if there is a policy, you get continuity and give good direction. So I'm voting against this recommendation. Any further speakers for or against? Phil, you need the right to reply. No, I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. 3. Against? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. Lost. So the motion's been lost. The policy will now be reviewed and come back to council for policy. Or Richard, you may have advice.
Option 1 in the report was to amend the policy to update it for accuracy, and that is the document that is attached on pages 56 and 57.
Do we need to do a separate motion, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, there's option 1 is a recommendation there with the policy updated. So if there's a move and a second of that option 1, we can take that now.
I'd move option 1, please.
Councillor Cameron.
I'll second.
Councillor McMillan. Thank you, Richard. Any debate? If not, put the motion all in favour, please say aye. Against? 2. Carried. Recorded? Yep. Thank you. Passed. Thanks, Richard. Next item is the options for event-related closure of East Street South. Page 56. 8, sorry, 8. We have Ian. Anything Ed? To nothing, Ian. Questions? Russell?
Thank you. Just a question of clarification. If we go with the recommendation as written and Ashburton Town Centre wanted to host an anniversary event, say 200 years or something of the town centre of Ashburton, and the shops wanted to come out onto the street, this recommendation as written, does that preclude that?
Yes, it does, through the chair. Oh, sorry, during weekdays and business hours, yes.
Yeah.
If that was to happen, could council make an exemption for a certain day or not?
I would probably defer to my colleagues on that, but I would imagine that it might have to come back to council.
Hamish?
Perhaps that's the right course of action, but it may never get to council, because as soon as we get the inquiry, we'll say, no, council's position is you can't.
Yeah.
And it would require some effort from the organisers or the potential organisers to get it in front of you. But in the event they wish to take that course, then they presumably could. But anything in the option that gives the exemption or sets it up means essentially we have to come to you every single time, which was one of the other options that we didn't feel is the right way to go. So I think this was the a reasonable preferred outcome, and to cover something outside of it would just have to be dealt with at the time.
Yep. Ian, on page 59, it talks about one-on-one interview was had with organiser Market Day, and then under that the CBD business survey found such. What was the outcome of the one-on-one interview? Where is it reported here, or is it?
It's reported in the text, para 7 on.
Oh, I see. Yep. Is that person supportive of this recommendation or not?
I think I'm reluctant to speak for another party, but I think there's an awareness of the position that's been expressed by others, and certainly an openness to look at other locations, if I can say that.
Yeah, Councillor McMillan.
Thank you. So alternative locations, I guess, would be Barron Square, which would include East Street. You could close that off like you used to with the multicultural bite back in the day. I guess the Domain is also, we've seen the Waitangi Day market happen inside the Domain and multicultural bite. So are they the only two, I suppose, council owned spaces that could be alternative sites, or are there other?
Through the chair, potentially there will be other options available. It's really for an event organiser to contemplate where those might be. I'm thinking, hypothetically, Mona Square. It could be something that's been used to, I think it's certainly a prep area for the parade in previous years, but there will be other areas around, I'm sure, that hypothetically could be used.
And another question, if that's okay, if Boulevard Day or whatever it's called now, Market Day, sorry, ended up being outside Barron's Square, outside this building here, what can you imagine that the same amount of stallholders would be able to fit on that space? Is it like for like?
So, through the chair, that there has been some initial discussion around it. I understand from our event coordinator that yes, there is a feasible, it's a feasible option for that to occur around there. The road closure may need to be enlarged slightly, but it will really be down to that conversation about from the event organiser and how they're planning to run their event, and then in discussion with staff and the community about how that's going to run.
Yeah, if it was run out here, the East Street by the clock tower could be closed, the triangle the road on the triangle could be closed, that it would move. If the scenario, the Mid-Canterbury rugby team won the Renfrey Shield and wanted to do a ticker tape display down the main street, moving parade, would this policy allow that?
So the preferred option that we've recommended is based around the installation of stalls and equipment associated with the closure. So hypothetically, if it was just a short closure for vehicles to pass through and nothing fixed, then that would be allowable.
Same as a centre parade with everything moving.
Correct.
Yep. During the week, that is, yeah. Councillor Hooper.
Thank you. We spent millions of dollars developing the square out in front of this building and events was forefront of our minds when we did that. So why then would we have an option of option 5 allowing Sundays and outside business hours, and not, why would the recommended option not be option 4, that no events happen in the CBD? And we're saying, we spent the moolah out here, let's have it out here.
I think, with respect, that's a question for councillors to answer.
Yeah, I think that's a debate question. By option 4 means you will have absolutely nothing there, no discretion, no nothing. Yeah. Where option 5 gives you a bit of discretion for something in there, slightly discretion.
And I think, Mr. Mayor, to help the question of the rationale for this report was the long-held tradition of south of Havelock Street, that closure, and some parties, i.e. the other CBD operators, having concerns about that. So that's what's driven the consideration of that concern. There's never been concern expressed to us about Sunday because the businesses aren't open, and therefore that the complaints were never received. So we haven't tried to go as far as your question implies, simply because we're trying to address the concerns that were expressed to us.
Okay, no more questions. Thanks, Ian. There's a recommendation there. Councillor Cameron moved.
Second.
Councillor Lovett seconded. Open for debate. Did you want to speak to the motion, Councillor Cameron?
Yes, I can speak to
You can speak at both ends if you like.
I'll speak at the tail.
You'll have the right to reply then.
Right to reply, yeah.
Councillor Lovett.
I spent a bit of time the last couple of years looking at the market day, and when we've spent all that money developing this town to where it is today and bringing this building over here, our plans were for all this area to be opened up for markets and different things. And I really felt sad about East Street. It was hard to move between all the gazebos and that to get onto the footpath, to be able to get into the shops, and people were tramping on our nice gardens. And now that our footpaths are widened, the road carriages got quite narrow with all the stuff on both sides. And to me, I could see what was happening down there, and I think the whole thing could move down here, and it would be a nice big area for a market, and then sort of developing down into our Victoria Street and combining all this area would be good for the town. And it's just that access on those side streets. There was nobody shopping down those side streets either. And we've got to look after the business people in town, and like these guys are only there for one day, I know, but it takes its toll.
Councillor Todd.
Thank you. I agree with the recommendation. When I look back, I was involved in Boulevard Day from day one, many years ago. And can I just share that East Street, when we first started, East Street was State Highway 1. So you had the main traffic going through town, and the stalls were on the green, and customers and staff were ducking and diving. So there was no health and safety in those days, and no orange cones to do anything with it either. So it was quite interesting back then. Back then, the the event was fully supported by local retailers, but I think over time that support from the locals has declined, and other operators have been involved. So while the day still attracts a large number of people to the CBD, they mainly just walk the street, and the vendor stalls have become a barrier to get into retailers' stores. Plus you have the fact of Burnett Street and Tankard Street now being also closed, so it's an issue for delivery vehicles and cars to get through as well. So I think it's time for a change. It's time for a relaunch and to reinvigor the day. The market day is still important to the town, so we should support it. But I think a new location will maybe bring breathe new life back into it.
Councillor Hooper?
Thank you. I'm just not hearing any reason for me to agree with option 5. I don't see the point of Sundays or outside business hours. I think that we've spent a bunch of money and we've got an awesome spot out the front of us, and the day we went as a group and came back to this area when we were opening this building, and there was some music playing in the square and there was a vibrancy to it. It just sounded and looked awesome, and I think we should be promoting out there as our spot for the likes of a market day. So I just see option 4 as the way to go. It's black and white. I'm not sure why we would do it on a Sunday or outside business hours, outside the retail stores. So yeah, perhaps somebody can enlighten me.
If you were thinking of option 4, you'd have to make an amendment to the recommendation we have, if you were strongly held that view. Councillor McMillan.
Thank you. I support this motion, and I think it's probably the sensible way forward. We want to protect our retailers down on East Street, and we do have the space out the front here on Barron Square if needed. And I think maybe option was it option 5 you were talking about, Councillor Hooper? 4. I think option 5 gives a bit more leeway if there is something that's after hours or on a Sunday, and it's needed to be down East Street. I think it just gives us leeway, so happy with this option.
No further speakers for or against. Go to the right to reply.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Through the chair. I think if we all recall last year, we had a group of retailers come in and give an eloquent summation of the impact of Market Day on their current businesses. We have we've also spent a lot of money out front, but we've also invested a lot of money onto the streetscape, into the CBD, and we want to nurture some of our precarious business in the CBD. And by closing, and we can look at Appendix 3 in our agenda, by closing the CBD during working hours had a significantly detrimental effect on their activity. So I think that's one reason that we shouldn't allow events with stalls, competing stalls on the main street. As you've alluded to, Councillor Hooper, there's a beautiful opportunity out front, and it's glorious out there. I think option 4 does not allow for ticker tape parades or any activity down the street when we do run the Ranfurly Shield, or when we do want to have activities like things going down there for 200-year anniversary, when, for example, we open our time capsule. So I think option 5 is the best option. I think we have alternatives. I think we're supporting our community, and we're supporting innovative and vibrant activity as well. So I'd urge you all to vote for this. Thank you.
I would put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Councillor Hooper against. Do you want it recorded? No. Thank you. Passed. Next item is the Mayor's report. And there's a recommendation there that the Mayor be authorised to vote on behalf of the Council at Local Government LGNZ AGM on the 16th of July 25, and if the Mayor's absent, then the Deputy Mayor will be the alternate presiding delegate. Who a mover for that? Councillor Todd, seconded Councillor Mackel. Open for debate. This is just a formal one we do every year to give the Mayor the power to vote at the LGNZ AGM. So I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Another recommendation there that for the road network maintenance and operations contract, the council appoints 2 councillors to observe the tender evaluation process for the road network maintenance and operations. And I've had indication that Councillors Bram and Wilson would like to go on this committee. Councillor Todd.
I'll move the recommendation.
Just before you do, I was just wondering if we wouldn't make the Mayor ex officio on this committee.
Mr. Beard, it's not really a committee.
Is it working group?
We were just trying to give effect to councillors observing the evaluation process. So it's not like an ex officio committee. If there's more than 2 councillors who wish to observe, then council needs to resolve that.
Okay. I just got the wording wrong. Perhaps if the Mayor would like to, if your agreement be ex officio on this, or it's not a committee. Yeah, be an observer.
We thought council wanted 2 observers.
Yeah. Yes.
Sounds like they want 3 observers. Is there a problem with having 3 observers?
No, council can do that if they so wish.
I move we have 3 observers. Do I have a second? One being the Mayor.
You can't do that in the middle of this motion, but we haven't got a motion yet because I stopped it there. You'd like the addition of, in the recommendation, that there's 3. Yep. Just hold, pause. We're just pausing for a moment.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, we're just checking whether or not the decision to have 2 was a formal resolution of council or whether it was a less formal indication. Our quick checking, we think council is free to have as many as you like to observe the evaluation. Yep.
So if council wishes to have 3, Councillor Cameron,
I'll move that.
they don't move it. We haven't got a recommendation yet. we're putting 3 in. Being, so the recommendation will be, which someone will move shortly, appoints councillors Graham Wilson, Mayor, to observe the tender evaluation process for the road network maintenance and operations contract. Is there a mover for that? Councillor Todd?
I'll
Councillor
second.
Miller? Open for debate. Being no debate, put the motion all in favour, please say aye. Carried, thank you. So there's meetings 10.3. Any questions on the meetings had? Councillor Cameron?
This morning at the citizens, welcome
Citizenship ceremony.
ceremony, we had a good number of turnouts, and I think you alluded, Mr. Mayor, to that we're going to be having that, like a lot more people are becoming citizens at the ceremony. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Well, I can only say that we had 91 there this morning.
Yeah.
It's a great ceremony from all over the world who are now citizens of New Zealand. I'm not sure how many's coming up in the future. I haven't got that information.
Okay.
So someone will have, though. Appropriate staff member may be able to tell you if they've... We did this citizenship ceremony on behalf of the DIA, Internal Affairs, so they will have the information and they feed them down to us as required. The next ceremony will be just before the one more for this term of council, which will probably be in late September, in September sometime.
May I ask another question?
Yep.
At the citizenship, they are the people that choose to attend the ceremony and be acknowledged as a citizen. Do we know from DIA how many people are becoming citizens in our district quarterly or whatever? Do we get that information?
Yes, we do.
Oh, good.
And they are at the ceremony. I think it's mandatory you attend.
Oh, is it mandatory you attend?
You have to have a, if you can't make the grand one, I can do it in my office.
Oh, I didn't realise that. Oh, that's good.
The mayor, role of mayor is to do that job. Yeah.
And just
Councillor
another thing to note, a Justice of the Peace can also do the citizenship ceremony as well if they can't attend an official ceremony, and it's quite an interesting process. I've done one. I just wanted to ask if you could give us a bit of an update on the Canterbury Mayoral Forum, if there was anything we needed to know.
The zone committees were abolished there, and looking at starting the new regime of the local leadership groups. There was a paper presented on how they would look. Of the 10 local authorities that were there, well, there weren't 10 there, there was some absenteeism there. The recommendation was passed, but Ashburton voted against their recommendation. Ashburton was the only one who voted against that recommendation. And it was coming from the feedback I'd had from our community. What Environment Canterbury was looking at setting up wasn't suitable for Ashburton, and Ashburton want their own bespoke committee basis. And ECAN have said that they will let Ashburton have what they want in discussion with the old zone committee now. That's what they say. What we get, we'll see if it's any different. Get what they want might not be the right words, but they're happy to listen to what Ashburton wants, and they'll be here first when they go around setting them up. So watch and see. If Ashburton was discussed at the meeting, if Ashburton didn't get what they want, then they don't want anything. It's an all in or out, and the local leadership group members or the ex-zone committee members need to be happy with the way it's set up, or there won't be one. Yep. Councillor, anything else from the meeting that the minutes are have been sent to you. The agenda of minutes are sent from the Canterbury Mayoral Forum. You get them they should be coming through to your email box. And if you haven't, that's on the Canterbury Mayoral Forum website. Hamish.
There was a range of other issues that were discussed. One was the regional energy inventory. So an attempt to understand exactly what particularly renewable energy sources already exist in the Canterbury region, so that's been a really big piece of work, which is now also up on the Mayoral Forum website. Discussion around the emergency management bill legislation and the process that's being followed by the government to reform emergency management, or civil defence as we used to know it. There was a discussion about regional deals and the implications for the region, getting ready for a new triennium post the elections in October, and how the Mayoral Forum's work program gets re-described, I suppose, by a new forum coming in post the election. Those were some of the headline events, I think, headline issues.
Councillor Todd?
Thank you. Just with the citizenship ceremony, is it possible to get a list of the countries of origin that these people come from? It would be quite interesting just to, every time we, have a ceremony, that we can say that so many people come from all these countries to live in Canterbury.
Yes, certainly. I think we actually used to do that. It may have dropped off the radar with some changes internally, but yes, we can certainly do that.
So you haven't had an email with them all? You haven't had that email with all the names of the people who are in countries? We used to. I don't get your emails, so I got it, but I officiate it, so it might be the reason why.
We'll circulate that,
yeah. We can do the one from today too, if you wish, for correctness. Councillor Wilson.
I find it interesting that ECAN is going to come back to and talk to us about the zonal committees. They obviously didn't listen the first time they were here, and I fully endorse. I thank the Mayor for taking the message clearly and showing it through his vote at the Mayoral Forum, that we, as a community, had come up with a plan and wanted that plan enacted. And I feel disappointing that they've actually just sort of ignored us again. And so hopefully when they come this time, we'll give them a clearer message. It may get very clear this time round.
Hamish?
I think ECAN believe they can show Ashburton that the new adopted model, as adopted in Kaikoura, can meet Ashburton's needs. I don't think they are coming to Ashburton to change the Mayoral Forum's position to suit Ashburton. I think they're going to demonstrate that the decisions that have been made can still give effect to the drivers that Ashburton have. But I don't think we should expect them to be coming here to offer a whole different local leadership group structure other than the one that was adopted by the Mayoral Forum.
They'd have to drop one L and just be a leadership group. Take the local out. Further questions? If not, I'll move that we receive the Mayor's report. Councillor Cameron seconded. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thank you. The recommendation that we move into committee. Councillor McMillan, Councillor Ellis. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thank you. Thanks, Jono.